Esports continue on to be on the same side of the map for 3 games in a row, and perhaps the ball right now is on their court.
Yeah, they definitely have control again, getting to dictate that priority in that first phase. And I think, you know, that game 2 draft that they came out with was just a lot more solid. The opening gave lesser room for Tiger Wong Esports to really target, and sure, they banned out the Brody and the Claude, but honestly, I feel like, you know, that Claude wasn't really a big issue, right? Eventually, EVO ended up with the Melissa anyways. Now we get to see almost the same bans, you know, we see the Edith, Kaja from EVO Esports, Tiger Wong, they banned out the 1-1. I assume the Fanny is going to be next, but no, so far it's the Joy.
Yeah, and basically it's the same exact bans that we are seeing. So perhaps it's really boiling down to the execution. Tiger Wong wasn't satisfied. It's like, hey, I'm confident that this time we're not going to let go of that Lord. So we'll see if we could basically challenge the rest of EVO Esports once again. So with what they've already read in terms of rotations, at the very least, EVO Esports, we saw a little bit more stability, especially with their roamers really doing a wonderful job. Like, I just like to see how Your Name could basically control the pacing of the matchup as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm just hoping to get a little bit more out of Tiger Wong's mid laner, where they picked the Eve, but doesn't seem like they have that perfect setup for them to be able to have enemies sting under the real world manipulation.
Yeah, and you know, Faramir's ban coming up from Tiger Wong, it's kind of just to lock out the potential Ube strat that EVO Esports they have played in the upper bracket. Though that one was a loss, but they, you know, it shows that they do have an option. So this opening pick, Fredrin, no surprise right there. It is common for it to go through. So Tiger Wong Esports maybe will consider the glue again, a glue +1. I'm expecting maybe they have that glue Moskov since it's let open.
Yeah, that would give them at least great sustain and heavy backline to be able to just shred through damage, and that also leaves EVO Esports to really think about, okay, how do we really want to find ways to get all the way to the back to catch this Moskov later on in terms of team fights, whereas their answer initially was to secure that Farsa. So does it mean that they will have to go for an early mid pick this time?
I feel like it could be a choice. For EVO, I think the Farsa isn't too bad, right? Moskov is one of those few marksmen who has slightly shorter range. So if he's hitting you, you can definitely feather airstrike him. The glue though, same pick, kind of what we expected from Tiger Wong Esports as an opening. EVO Esports, they do go for the Farsa. I do hope that Tiger Wong now goes for the Valentina. You kind of have the counter feather airstrike if you can steal it instead of the Eve, but they get the Kadita.
Whoa!
And there is a chance that this is a roaming Kadita. It's a pretty flexible pick, so it's either Zanri or Flash 1. If it gets on top of this Moskov, he disappears.
Yeah, at least that you get a little bit more flexibility in terms of repositioning into the team fights and still dish a heck ton of damage. Now, of course, they want to get into the second phase of the ban with a little bit more access into the draft, whereas if you don't, then you will have many of all these marksmen being taken off, and they really relied on the Melissa as well in the past game. Now, Tiger Wong Esports will continue to bring the Martis back up online. The past matchup, we did see it being banned off, and we did see a couple of matches where Martis have been pretty much rampant when it comes down to going for either jungling or even when you're side laning Martis. It's still a little bit of a challenge to deal with him, considering how much mobility he has.
Yeah, most likely a jungle Martis, though he has the option to play in XP lane, but there are better choices right now. Though I think, Martis is one of those few heroes that can completely ignore the Melissa ultimate. If he has a Shura, you kind of get that crowd control immunity, you get close to Melissa. Unfortunately, Martis alone isn't enough to do so. Tiger Wong now banning out those XP laner, targeting Opus, hero pool, so no Lapu, expecting the Yuzhong to get banned out as well as the last one from Tiger Wong Esports. So you kind of eliminate options for EVO to have this XP laner that can instantly dive your backline, right? They completely destroys Moskov in these fights. Farsa gets banned out by EVO. Loving this approach. Perhaps we're looking for E ban from EVO coming into this final one. Yeah, Yuzhong gets banned by Tiger Wong.
Yeah, you just really want to nitpick on all these tanky frontliners from EVO Esports, and then you could just give free reigns of access for this Martis to eventually find the flank angle and hope to catch out of this Melissa. But of course, it's still really difficult because Kadita can just basically poof away. Melissa does have a way to also go reposition herself very much safely. So still a little bit of a difficult stance here if Tiger Wong really wants to go for a mage. Now they don't have the Farsa. They can still go for Valentina, but whose ultimate are you trying to steal here?
Kadita one isn't too bad, honestly. We'll see though. I think that Eve also isn't a bad option since that Xavier gets banned. Not sure if Tiger Wong plays a Lunox. It is, you know, something that they can consider since right now they've kind of seen that. I feel like they're not sure where the Kadita is going, so they go for a safer pick. This is the first Lilia game that we'll see, but you have a defensive option, right? The Black Shoes kind of rewind time and allow you to regain those health, so not too bad of an approach from Tiger Wong.
Yeah, I really do love the amount of burst damage that they could basically bring to the table where you just focus fire onto getting your hands on this Melissa, and anyone that sends the way, you could still get a little bit more of that safety net with the Black Shoes up online. And now, going into the final few picks remaining for side of EVO Esports, they will bring the Cho up online, and they still have the Steady Rock to be able to hold the front. So this is looking pretty solid, I would say, where EVO could just basically continuously look for the picking.
This is a Cho XP lane, I think. So you get the roaming Grok, Jungle Fredrin. Loving this approach from EVO Esports. Now, another the question is, how the heck do you dive that backline? Because it is so hard for Tiger Wong to get in. The only two heroes that can reliably do so, probably the Martis and the Glue, but you have so many ways to disengage, to kind of split the battle line. Tiger Wong, they actually go for the Ruby as that Romero, but I honestly prefer EVO's Esports draft a bit more going into game number 3. It does look a little bit more robust. Tiger Wong, it is crunch time.
Definitely it is. Just looking at their current situation is that, sure, you have two really beefy targets up the front with the Ruby as well as Glue, and you're really banking on hopes that Sapphire Rinse as well as Gugun will be activated very early on. But the problem is, just look at EVO Esports. Most of them are actually very slippery, and that's where I think like the agility that EVO Esports have might actually be working out for them, but it really boils down to the execution. Let's see what we have here. Final game of this first series. Is it going to be EVO Esports or Tiger Wong Esports? Put your prediction in the chat right now, which you guys definitely will be rooting for someone. So without further ado, we're going to go into the Land of Dawn.
If you're looking for potential upset series, this is the one and only that you're going to be tuning into. You know, we still have one more coming up after this, but I do feel like, you know, for the first one, you're looking for kind of the underdog comeback, right? EVO Esports being the less favorite one, and it is a team that, you know, isn't from those crazy strong regions like Indonesia or Philippines. This is a team from Laos, right? And it's a region that has been overlooked, you know, from time to time. And the fact that EVO Esports now in top 6, this is a great achievement. And if they can down Tiger Wong Esports, one of the most impressive teams we've had so far in this tournament, it's going to be a new accolade on that Hall of Fame, at least going forward.
And I like the point that you brought up on the very first game itself, where of course they suffer that loss, but they are a team to adapt, and you see how fast they have been able to show up with 3 very distinct drafts compared to what we saw. Sure, in this game itself, we see the introduction of Cho into the third game, as well as the data being the main difference maker. But it does allow them a lot more option when it comes down to initiation. I think that's the most important part of what this Cho actually offers on the table. So Opera plays a heavy part into getting these picks going for the team. Whereas for Tiger Wong, look at the pressure they're being surmounted over onto this EXP lane. I don't think they want to set foot too far deep.
The idea was there, but Oppa was 1 minute away from his ultimate, and it all started with just Rexy pushing him out of lane. They bring Gugun up top, they clear the wave, and they crash their own wave in the turret, preventing that wave of the dragon from coming online at the desired timing. And now Oppa has his ultimate, but there's no way into that turtle pit. They're gonna circle around, got a little bit of dance, but the turtle is gonna go over to Tiger Wong Esports, and your name stuck around for way too long. It's first blood for Tiger Wong.
So crisp and clean coming from Tiger Wong this time around. With such a great priority on to Turtle. There's no access for EVO Esports available. Whereas, of course, just dropping the Ferdinand for the time being, you see a little bit more pressure with the invades coming in from Gugun. He should be able to make it out alive, but not so much, where Zanri's just charging him to the wall. Great pickup, 1-for-1.
Yeah, gotta thank Flash1 for that. His Petrify not only secured the Pearl Buff for him, but got the kill. Unfortunately, can't say the same for bot side though. Biston getting taken out. Zanri just showed up, but it is just a Grok. Can't do too much. And it's worth pointing out that ALVA, look at his emblem, is going full damage. He's looking for those one-shot roundhouse kick. But Tiger Wong so far, just like they always do, have that early game advantage. Bottom lane getting pressured.
A lot of gold being established coming in from Tiger Wong though. Just depleting on the turret shield at the time being. But they got what they wanted. Gonna go in for a quick reset before they contest for the next certain. Well, I want to say turtle, and then we see a little bit of pickoff going on. And this is what you will be expecting coming out from the Fedrin, where in the early levels, it's just so oppressive.
Yeah. And if you get caught out by the Cho, it's an instant KO. He's going to kick you back into Flash1, who will just blow up underneath. Something that Tiger Wong Esports needs to be really careful about. You know, even as a Lilia, there's a chance you might not even have time to use the black shoes. So keep your eyes out on that. But Tiger Wong Esports, despite that momentous start, EVO Esports are getting good response. ALVA being one of the playmakers, and he's putting a lot of pressure onto Rexy. Another kick, Flash1, watch out for the combo. This is what I've been waiting for, Rexy. Forced to use the flicker into his ultimate. That was really, really close. Could have been the second death.
Yeah, Resley just trying to hold on for dear life. Should be able to clear off the final minute. Stays put. And we're not even seeing retaliation because the rest of Tiger Wong, they're occupied with the turtle currently being contested.
Biston is already there, forced away Zanri, a good wall charge. Rin's getting forced back, just doing zoning duty. Using the black shoes to go backwards. Saffro arriving at the fight first. A good taunt onto Daddy Durido. The front line might go down. Flash1 has shown up. Daddy Durido, a good I'm offended. Actually, they burst down your name. Oh, this Ruby is still alive. ALVA can't find his way in. Doesn't have the Will of the Dragon and cannot use it. The Decimate resets from Google Satio, a triple for the Martis.
They just force the rest of EVO to commit, and Tiger Wong peels all the way back and still have Dottie surviving. And not only do they walk away with those 3 kills in the back, Tiger Wong secures the turtle and also reaping more rewards with the mid-turret destroyed.
And that is just Tiger Wong having better priority on the objective. EVO Esports had the idea, but they cannot kill the Ruby. And this, the ultimate dragging your name in. One of the base of Fredrin is that it's not that easy to get your passive stack, the combo points for your ultimate. You need 3 points for that. And in these situations, when you're constantly getting control, when you can't land your spells, if you can't get the ultimate off, you lose a lot of that durability. And now EVO Esports, they're rotating up top. Good war charge, but oh, the Kadita missing that charge might be fatal, but they still have enough damage. Flash1 saving that ultimate for the burst. Rexley goes down.
Great picking coming in overall. Gugun just hoping to snatch this away with the Retribution. And he does get it though. That's all that he would probably get, but first surmounting a little bit more pressure to be created. Whereas now Saffreel has to be careful over the bomb side because the Glass Cannon Cho is still pressing him, whereas Gugun recommits.
Oh, Biston able to get away with the help of Zanri. And that's where we see the power of the Martis, the Ashura, completely ignoring the Melissa ultimate. Is one that doesn't follow orders. You can't ask him to go away. Rin's though, taking a lot of turret damage, but Black Shoes, easy getaway. And Gugu now comes in with the support of Daddy Durido. They're gonna chunk your name down. They did lose Saffreel in that bot lane, thanks to the Choke Hadida combo, but they did get something up top.
What a great establishment control coming out of Tiger Wong, just finding that pick. And I was worried for Rin for a second where it was just diving the turret, but of course that caused a little bit of a pull of attention coming from EVO, whereas the distraction worked out where Gugun went in from the side, and now coming in for a little bit of contest, trying to deny as much experience possible coming from EVO. Currently, it doesn't seem like it's all too hefty on their side. You still find ways for an opening, but EVO's got to be really careful. They have lost a lot of map control where Grizzly, he's going to commit.
Another kickback. They will lose that front line. EVO Esports having the man advantage to start things off. Zanri does get pulled back by Daddy Durido. Rinse is there as well, but this Grok very, very durable. And ALVA, he's looking for another window. they gotta watch out for those side lanes though. They are getting shoved in. EVO have their attention drawn elsewhere.
Yeah, a little bit of overzealousness being displayed as well. Whereas they don't really have full information of the whereabouts of EVO in particular, I would say. Now, of course, things have been able to be pretty much even odds for EVO Esports, despite them being 2K goal behind. They're just waiting for the big objectives, and that's where they should be able to look for those wiggle room. But DEVINE, he's been able to really seek out some of all these priority targets and just moving back into that turtle fight early on. The huge I'm offended that really land that blow onto multiple targets have been able to secure them so much in return. But EVO Esports, they're just hoping to find that pick once again, especially with Clan coming in.
They forced Piston away from the rest of his team. Piston trying to hold on, but not enough. Rinse back to full health with that Black Shoes. The top tier 2 is down. Saffron going to work, pins your name against the wall. He gets pulled back by Resli. The Appraisal's wave isn't enough. Flash one, can he find a breath? Petrifies there. They blow up Saffron. Kind of dampen the damage dealers a bit. But Tiger Wong Esports still have the man advantage.
Yeah, it's not really the most favorable position to be fighting in the jungle just like that. And Tiger Wong Esports, they have been able to cut those corners as well, leaving them kind of stranded, but it's great movements coming out of Flash One to be able to just seek out Saffron and just finding that pick, getting out alive, not really giving much room for this Moskov to reach his power spike just yet, but the longer this game takes, Tiger Wong could scale up monstrously. But at the same time, I mean, you can still rely on this Fredrin. Lord is now up, available. 9 minutes on the clock, and we're also seeing EVO Esports having the show so far away. I wonder if he's going to be able to make the cut.
I don't think they can contest this Lord. Tiger Wong Esports, they're just going to burst it down. EVO forced to give this one away. You can see the intention is pretty much clear from EVO Esports. They are going to play the defensive game. They did take the top tier 1, but that's pretty much it. ALVA doing the best that he can. Tiger Wong now have established a decent lead for themselves. There's only one mission for EVO Esports. Blast Saffron before he can do too much in those fights. We saw the Divine Glaive second core item from Flash One. It's all about that magic penetration. You want to not only be able to blow out Saffron, but in the event you catch a tank like Rexley or DEVINE, you want to be able to cut through the Athena shield as well. So EVO Esports, they are itemizing correctly, but they still need a bit more.
Definitely do. Now pressure is on for the side of EVO. 2 members being pulled up top, and they won't be able to have Flash One joining into this heist coming in from Tiger Wong. They will eventually have to let this go, and there's no business for this Grok to be standing in the way. Xanri tries to get out alive, will force his ultimate as he will try to reposition, and the rest of EVO just turning into their high ground, and they are just losing turrets after turrets.
And I love how Tiger Wong Esports is reading this. If they don't see the Khadida on Chong on the map, they know that they can't stick together. They have the man advantage, and no one risks getting picked off. DEVINE is on the radar though, but ALVA is not in the right position to get any sort of catch. And EVO Esports, they're trying to look for these windows, but Tiger Wong Esports have been able to dodge EVO for the past minute or two.
Yeah. And from this point onwards, heading to the late game, I don't think that this Cho will be as effective as you want him to be. More and more of all these defensive stats are being established by the rest of Tiger Wong Esports. So he's got to be really careful when he does single somebody out with the Way of the Dragon. And Lilia is perhaps the party target, but with a Black Shoe online, you got to also think twice.
It's definitely getting very dicey for EVO Esports. Good news is they still haven't lost any inhibitor turrets. The defense was sufficient, but you need a big playmaker, a Xanri wall block into a wall charge, or an ALVA flicker away of the dragon, and you kind of blow someone up and get a man advantage for yourself. But all these side waves will constantly be an issue because Tiger Wong Esports have established so much control. The tier 1 in both mid and bottom are still up.
Yeah, overall, most often than not, Tiger Wong Esports really have to look after Saffron because he's not being able to really efficiently pick people off. Couldn't really last too long on team fights because of how many of all these heavy commitments that EVO Esports has been dishing out towards the back line. when they do commit to those fight. So perhaps when you will have a fight around the choke point, Saffron will have a little bit more of that wiggle room. For now, both sides eyeing onto the Lord. EVO Esports still having Opera over top side, so won't be able to tag along his way. At the meantime, Tiger Wong is setting a tiger's den for them to be baited into a trap.
If Opera isn't around, EVO Esports loses so much cash potential. Tiger Wong definitely won't commit the mistake that they did in Game 2. He's not going to let that Lord just go. EVO Esports completely abandoning the idea. They're not going to contest this. If they lose this fight, it is game over. So they are still entertaining the idea of it. Your name. Oh, he's showing up. Zanri couldn't really find a wall. And Oppa, he's coming in from that mid side. He will still be under vision thanks to that mid tier 1 that they couldn't take down early on. So EVO Esports, you got to make a choice right now. Your name and Flash 1, they are separated. Oppa as well. They are all so far away. Gugun can't find Oppa. He found Riz! Oh, they also blew out Saffro. The perfect scenario for EVO. I don't know how they did that, but that is absolutely needed. Gugun, the third to go, blocked and completely shut down. Double for Oppa.
That was huge.
I cannot believe that EVO managed to find that window, but this is probably the turning point in this series. EVO Esports with the Lord at a crucial point of the game.
Tiger Wong Esports did not establish more of a control on the side brush as well. They gave so much leeway, and Zanri just really blocking their passage and eventually got them all caught out.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
oh, it's from going good to
Lord fights. It's another Lord fight that EVO just seemingly were able to. And the worst part, Riz didn't even get to use the black shoes. We discussed about this during the draft, where there is a chance if he gets petrified or if he gets kicked by the Cho, he just dies in an instant. And that was what happened. The Cho got Saffro and Riz got petrified by the Kandita. Now with the Lord in the side, Bistan. Oh, be careful. You're inside of Gugun. He can't get the Decimate off. It was saved by Zanri. So well done. But Riz was able to shut down this Melissa. A bit too ambitious, and Flash 1. You're in the midst of things, blown up by Saffro, and a bit of an oversight from EVO. But they did get the top inhibitor.
Kind of overextended right there, and they want to create this pressure out mid in order for the Lord to be able to at least reap in 2 turrets apiece. But now it's back to square one for EVO, where you taught that, hey, maybe you can funnel a little bit more of the control over on top side and just overwhelm Tiger Wong because they don't really have much to defend for. Now, Tiger Wong has one more chance available thanks to the great hold that they had, and they really have to commend Rins for it. Purchased the Holy Crystal, had so much burst damage on top of that. And on top of what they've been able to do well is to really pick off Flash 1 off guard.
Can they do it again? If you're EVO, you're looking for that sort of fight one more time, and obviously Bistan just dashing a bit too deep. Gets dragged back by Gugun, and Rins finding the perfect opening as EVO Esports guard was down, and Flash 1 looking for that petrified burst, but of all the targets he ran into the Martyrs, gets interrupted by the Ashura.
It's just so close. Both sides now evening things up, sitting at 49k. This tug of war coming in from the tanks aren't really going to resolve too much. Of course, they will respect each other's territory. But keep your eyes onto the minimap. EVO Esports having 2 members really cutting the sideways from both angles. And Tiger Wong, they're choosing not to even go anywhere close there.
Whoever shows up in the side is going to die. Watch out in the top lane.
Lilia?
Rinse. 3, 2, 1. Oh, a bit out of range. Flash 1.
Oh, it's a setup.
He has to use that ultimate to get away. Rexy, flicker into the sticky lockdown. Tiger Wong Esports, they were ready for this one.
Wow.
And Lord is spawning in 10 seconds. Tiger Wong have gotten this game back.
And this is just pretty insane on how they actually get the read on the side lane as well on this Kandita. And Rins just called in for backup. Now they do have a 5v4 advantage. And you got this immortality up online for Gugun. You just go all out to commit. Resley just holding them back while they try to startle the Lord. And they're just zoning off EVO Esports completely. They might have just, well, give this one away. Opera's going back in.
He's looking for Saffro at least. Can you at least get Saffro? He gets a knockback. Knockback interrupted by the Martis. Saffron stays alive. The immortality will give up a second life, but he goes down afterwards. Tiger Wong this time was so much more prepared.
Yeah, and EVO Esports understand the risk as well as perhaps a little bit of reward where you don't really want to contest, especially most of these ultimates are available in most members of Tiger Wong Esports. They were just hoping to even find a little bit more of that wiggle room as Opera tries to dive directly in. Your name wasn't anywhere to be seen, and therefore there's no retribution for you to even secure the lot to begin with.
I have a feeling Opera wanted to kick Saffron, but he kicked Guggen instead. Either way, that could have been a decent trade. But EVO now will have to face the wrath of Tiger Wong. This is the second enhanced lord of the game. They should be able to clear it out, but having to risk losing all those inhibitor turrets, and there's nothing much that they can do about it. All 3 lanes synchronized by Tiger Wong. All of them go down at once. This lord will not survive, but Tiger Wong definitely will for a bit longer. They built the wall, Rexy easily getting out. Guggen also using the Ashura to get out. Zanri though, pulled over the wall. It's a drop. Tiger Wong Esports back in the driver's seat.
Now every single inhibitor down, EVO Esports is currently being pinched into just curling into this defensive setup. Even if Zanri spots out anybody inside the jungle or so, it doesn't really matter all too much for the time being, where Tiger Wong Esports is hoping to create another situation where you just establish a little bit more of that hole across this bottom side of the river. Now you even have Rins coming in with immortality. Like, Rins doesn't really have to worry about using the Black Shoes so early. Just focus on bursting somebody down and then use that later on. And it's just looking to be bleak for EVO from now on.
They have 5 immortalities, just so they can survive the initial burst. That's how important staying alive it is to them. Oppa, can you at least get it out? Saffron, I don't think he has enough damage. No way. Actually, he does. Well, Saffron's immortality is gone. Oppa flickers right into Darido. That does have the crowd control immunity from the Shun Poke. Gets dragged back. Oh, Resley on the glue. That is important.
Word. Just catching him off just like that. And once again, all this immortality is just a really good investment coming in for most of these members, and especially for Saffron, where he has been the priority target for multiple times. EVO Esports got 1 out away and now needing to deal with 4 more. And this is just going to get more and more difficult. Sure, they have some of their own, but it's not about enough for them to really sustain in some of all these fights, especially when you have this Ruby up front of your face. Darido doing such a great work throughout this match that he has never faltered throughout the course of, like, what, 20 minutes? We're heading in the late game.
Has not died once, and now this Lord. This is the world ender. Tiger Wong Esports starting it up. Oppa just came back. Zanri he spotted this happening. All the ways in Tiger Wong's favor. Zanri, how much can you do?
Flash 1.
If you can get Saffron right now, it would be great. But I think Flash 1, he's forced out. Forced away. Darido, he has to conceal. Pulls Flash 1 in. If this Khadija goes down, it is done and dusted. And it seems like that might be the case. The Winter Trunket is there. Flash 1 has that tidal dash. Forced to use the ultimate to gain distance. And now they're getting pincered, chased down by EVO Esports. Oppa able to zone Guggen away. Zanri builds the wall, but Guggen's coming in. Flash 1, you gotta keep running. Able to recall as the Lord resets.
Now you're looking at Oppa in position, gets the entire vision upon Tiger Wong, but he will be pincered out!
Oh, they see him in the brush. And with Oppa down, chances are this Lord is done. Desperation coming in. Your name, a good taunt. Rexy dropping low. Riz, Black Shoe, last second. Kadita, Flash 1. Oh, he's taunted, stunned, interrupted. No chance to get that ultimate off. No petrifiers. Rins this time. Bearing the weight of Tiger Wong Esports tournament lives. Your name forms a goal. The Saffron delivers. EVO Esports absolutely wiped out. Tiger Wong, with the skin on the teeth, clutches out this deciding match. They survived the lower bracket.
And just look at how Tiger Wong have been able to pull them into that pit itself, where EVO just giving the last stand, but they don't really have as much resources as they want to. Flash 1 already had his ultimate blown much early on, and he came back to the fray a little bit too late. And you just see Tiger Wong leaving not much of a mistake this time around. They may have lost the first Lord in the hand and gave 1 game away to EVO Esports, but this time they got it in the bag. 2-1 is where the results will lead, and Tiger WONG Esports continues their journey.
Definitely not the cleanest of series. Tiger WONG Esports, this